Hello everybody again, this is Steve Peterson at Texas HempstaLK on a balmy Saturday afternoon here in Austin, Texas. And with me is Jonathan Winkles.
Right? Absolutely, yes sir.
And from Hemp.
AGGRICRETE.
AGGRICRETE, thank you. AGGRICRETE is a mixture of hemp and crete. Hempcrete is the other term used for that. And I had a chance earlier today to go visit their booth. Tremendous explanation of hemp and its product is in building things, and obviously in terms of fire protection as well. So all my buddies in the Southwest and on the West Coast, think of that the next time you're thinking about building a structure. But Jonathan, tell the audience a little bit about your business. It looked like a family business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've been doing this now for how long?
Yeah, so we've recently become licensed Texas industrial hemp growers. So we grow the 0.3% THC, the non-intoxicating THC. And we utilize it in industrial and construction applications as well in health and wellness. And so we're a woman-owned business. We have pending WBE status, which is Women Business Enterprise, or hub historically underutilized business. And with that status, it allows us to quote on certain contracts that are advantageous for us to pursue, and while providing a sustainable building material that in many cases is a item for item replacement for petroleum products. So we're very excited to be vertically integrated and have seed to shelter sustainable solutions as well as soil to oil healthy alternatives.
That's fabulous. Yeah, and frankly, one of the things our company, besides the television, is a technology platform, frankly, using a blockchain, where we help cannabis and or hemp companies evidence the story of how it's grown, right? And because a lot of times when people go to buy the products, you know, they can get them over the top if they feel a relationship with the grower. And this allows you to communicate, or the farmer to communicate with the audience as well. So so that's from the technology. Now, you mentioned you've only been at this for less than a year.
Yes, sir.
And so what are some of the bigger challenges you've been facing in doing this?
Well, this has been an incredible year of leveraging 30 years of commercial contracting experience. I've worked on a lot of big buildings, NFL stadiums, big airports, VSL level 4 labs that have the deadliest of the deadly in them. That being said, rolling into this industry, Hempcrete for the most part has been the onesie, twosie, one home here, one home there. And what I'm trying to do is utilize my 30 years in the construction commercial side of the business and get commercial builds where we can build better with the sustainable building materials that we can utilize, close that loop, right? Right now, if you go to utilize rebar in Texas, like many times you will be imported Mexican steel or imported Chinese steel. I can't compete with that with a sustainable product, but I can compete with U.S. domestic steel. So if I can make a sustainable building product out of a field that when it's planted, it phytoremediates the soil and cleans the soil at the same time, all of a sudden you're presenting people with a reason that they can't say no. It's no longer an economics decision. It's the right thing to do because it's the right product for the right application, and I want to build better.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand the green component of growing hemp. You know, so when you think, folks, it's grown, basically all the carbon that's coming out of the air, gets absorbed into the root system and sequestered in the roots. So you know, there's actually, you can earn certification of carbon credits just by the radius of how you grow your plant, and those carbon credits can be used to offset buildings and things of that nature elsewhere in the country. And the other things that's interesting about the maturing of the hemp industry here in the States, we're trailing, go figure. China has a very active growing plan, but they use a lot of pesticides. So when you're talking about CBD products, or frankly some of these oils that you get in vape pens that come from China, have all this pesticide risks which they're not testing. So that's that, but it comes, of course, cheap, or we'll see how tariffs now affect that. The other part of it is you know, you see in Australia, one of our top programs on our network is Margaret River Hemp Company, and they show hemp construction and the importance of that, especially in arid climates where fires are a risk constantly. You have an example already at your booth showing how people use the blowtorch, and you can't set this stuff on fire. So, you know, so where we're heading in the U.S. now, it's going to come down to genetics How do we also get it in as a rotation crop so that the farmers feel confident that they can make a living with guaranteed contracts to be able to produce this product?
Absolutely. Well, and I think one of the things that people have a false misconception of is, you know, we used to answer the question a lot, if my house catches on fire, will everybody in it get stoned? You know, it's like, no, you will be able to, this is non-intoxicating, so A, it's not going to catch on fire, but it's with the right addition, it's fire resistant. B, it's not the same kind of hemp. Secondly, the term hempcrete has probably done more of a disservice to it because people think in their mind that it's concrete. And while we're working on a geopolymer that is structural in nature, hempcrete by and of itself is typically insulative in capacity, right? It can be everything, front of wall face to back of wall space, your insulation, your wall board, your interior and exterior finish with a plaster slate finish. However, you need the studs to be able to support it as your internal structure. And you know, it was recently added to the International Residential Code in a supplement, and that is a big deal where it has not been codified and accepted by all jurisdictions, but there is an active supplemental appendix that you can point to and say, hey, IRC says that I can build a structure up to 22 feet tall if I follow this internal frame, mid-wall frame, or external frame option.
Yeah. Here in Texas, by chance, do you know Robert Head at all?
I do not know.
Yeah, so Robert, I'll introduce you. He runs a group called Victory for Hemp. I hope I got that right. Or Hemp for Victory. But one of the projects they were talking about doing is building tiny homes for veterans. And so,
great.
you know, because there's so many that are living on the streets, and this is an economic way of providing them a safe place to stay.
And a healthier home. I don't know if you've ever been inside a hemp structure. First off, when you are inside them, you notice so much different. You can't really tell what it is, but it's quieter. It smells different. It's peaceful. I wish that hemp clothing was more economical. And you're talking about, you know, China still having the lead on the textile machines. We cannot make hemp textiles here in America. It breaks our machines. It's just too tough of a fabric and our fibers. So we're relearning the technology that we gave up 80 years ago. And just, I love the fact that the company Hemp for Victory, that was after banning it in 1937 under Reefer Madness, the USDA had to issue another video series called Hemp for Victory, where they had to beg the American farmer to come back and grow hemp for the war effort, because all sources of hemp had fallen to Axis control.
Yeah, for those who don't know, cannabis got really thrown under the bus by DuPont because they came up with nylon. And nylon, the competitor, we used to have hemp ropes. And well, history, George Washington and all the colonials grew hemp because they used it for sails and ropes. And so that's how sturdy it was as a nation. But obviously, after, you know, it was used, cannabis was used as a medical aid in World War I, and then nylon came along, and then DuPont went to work and got it banned as the devil's work. So a little bit of history on that as well. What are the things that you see in terms of, you know, if you're a prospective grower, and you know, there's a couple of issues. You hit on it earlier. It's not only the genetics, right? And like the grower I know in Ohio, he's trying to take the Chinese strains, which grow very tall, with some German strains that can withstand the temperature differences of the Miami Valley and Ohio, come up with some interesting genetics. I'm wondering what you're seeing here, for example, in this climate here in Texas.
So, my alma mater, Texas A&M University.
Hey, my alma mater is Villanova.
Okay.
We got the Pope.
I'm about to say, that's right. Yeah, y'all trumped us. The Pope. They said that 15 different people tried to register the Pope within 5 hours of it being announced as the news. Thought that was ironic. No, so in Texas right now, we're fighting SB 3, which is Senate Bill 3. There was a House version that was issued that was less as damaging, and then they came back, and the original Senate bill was what was passed, and it's going to Governor Abbott's desk. And we need everyone to reach out to Governor Abbott and ask for him to veto SB 3. As a grandfather, I am for reform. We need to get control and make sure that this is handled properly. But total ban is not the answer. It's going to cost at least 8,000 jobs. And I personally know people that have already been walked in on and lost $480,000 of inventory. Nest egg.
Yeah. Yeah, because Texas does not have cannabis law. It's illegal to sell cannabis in the state of Texas. So where the industry went with is the Delta 8 and Delta 9, which I agree is an issue when it shows up in gas stations, convenience stores, and everything else, and it's packaged incorrectly. So I agree there's got to be some limits and controls on it, but we're hoping as an industry that Abbott vetoes the bill, and that would put it back into legislative review.
So
Is that what
if he does not call for a special session, it would kick the can down the road for 2 years. Texas is one of those states that we only meet our state legislator every other year.
Gotcha.
And so if he calls a special session, then the legislators would all become forced to come back, and they would have to come to terms and reconcile how can we get a bill that passes both House and Senate and government. So
Yeah. So share with the audience. I mean, what is your your aha moment in becoming a grower? And now, obviously, their table is full of finished good products. Everything from oils, beard oils, to clay pottery, to I saw the whole line.
Well, so you're in the arts and media. I don't know if you've seen the Green Buffalo documentary that Patagonia put out.
No.
Okay, I highly recommend that you see this. It's a 23-minute short form documentary that won the Santa Barbara Film Festival, and it made it Oscar eligible in its category. And it is a story of the Lower Sioux tribe and how they used to be nomadic in nature and follow the buffalo that gave them shelter, food, hide, the whole 9 yards. And in the resurrection of their tribe and their community, they have found hemp to be a source to rebuild their community, to have a source of protein, to have a source of fiber, to have a source. And it's been a really, really unique story of restoration. And I watched this documentary, and they talk about the green bug biting you. And once you get bit by the hemp bug, you can't deny it. And we went to a class to become hempcrete builders. We saw vertical integration, some opportunities, and wanted to spread the word about this product, and decided to use my 30-year contractor background, my wife's bookkeeping and connections with an attorney and a developer, as well as my daughter's recreational therapy, and say, how can we take this plant, how can we present it in a way that the public can benefit from it widespread?
Right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, any other questions or thoughts that we want to share with the audience?
Yeah, so I love these. I call these pop soapbox moments, and don't put me in front of a camera if you don't want me to talk, because I love to talk about it. I hear a lot of people.
We got a TV network.
There you go. That's
recording.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people concerned about this next generation, and I'll be honest. I've sat through some board meetings lately that made me doubt my current generation. That being said, don't listen to everything that you hear. It's not as bad as the media would lead you to believe. Get out of your cities, get into the countries. There's FFA and 4-H students right now that are conducting meetings every day at 12 to 14 years old using Robert's Rules of Order and Parliamentary Procedure and conduct meetings better than Fortune 500 companies. These kids are out there. They're at the barn before school starts. They go, most of them are involved in arts or sports as well. They're at the barn after school ends. Your future generation leaders are there. They have a good work ethic. Don't be concerned. Go find these kids. Look for Eagle Scouts, look for the service members, look for the 4-H and FFA leaders. Our current Secretary of Agriculture for the U.S. is Brooke Rollins. She's a class of 1994 Aggie. Brooke, we really could use some help as a hemp farmer. Right now there's 50 states and 50 sets of rules plus federal guidelines. If you're growing for grain or for fiber, how about there be like some of these other countries where intense abuse matters? If I'm growing for grain or fiber, if I plant the right seed, I shouldn't have to be worried about if it tests at 0.4% that I have to plow the crop under. Give the farmer something that they can rely on. I go to people every day that have land that they will let sit fallow because they say, Wink, I can't make the numbers work. And I'm like, but it's good for your soil. You'll see better crop results. They see up to 20% increase in subsequent crops that are placed as a cover crop.
And this is the case where we want it as a rotation crop. I'm in Ohio, and I think it would be natural, not only for sequestering the carbon, which is what we talked about, but also if you incorporate biochar techniques, it creates a liquid fertilizer, which, guess what, you can use on your next crop. So,
well, and here's the low-hanging fruit. How about if you're a subsidized crop by the USDA, you have to plant a cover crop once every some number of years to fix the soil. I mean, again, you're getting the government benefit. Let's not hold back this other plant. Let's use it to say, hey, win-win situation here.
Yeah. End the stigma now.
Well, and then the other thing is on this SP3, you talk about unintended consequences. Right now, I get free biomass from people that are growing THC because they harvest the flower head and they have no use of the rest of the crop. I can take that stalk and that fiber and utilize it in agriculture and construction applications that the THC content is gone, it's in the flower. But right now, by banning THC in its totality, I will lose access to a biomass right now that I'm able to save from being plowed under and reuse it. And again,
So give them the website.
our website is www.aggricrete.com and our YouTube channel is AGGRICRETE LLC. And right now the video is SB3 Help Texas Hemp. And it's to send out to get Governor Abbott's attention to veto SB3. We need practical reform, but this is not the solution.
Well, that's it from Austin, Texas. Thank you for joining us. More to follow.
Adios, y'all.